I raised concerns in early 2017, before, I think it was in June, I may be correct, in 2017, I raised my concerns on the public service card. In the social welfare bill of that year, I put forward amendments specifically seeking to ensure that the state would be cognizant and careful in relation to its legal responsibilities in relation to the public service card. In those debates, we also spoke, and I spoke, about the concern about whether or not people had adequate information in relation to the decisions that they were being making in terms of the purposes to which their data would be used. And I sought at that time, not simply because I'm concerned about the rights of individuals, but because I was very concerned that the state was acting in a way that left itself open to charges of legal negligence at the least, if not recklessness. The concern that I expressed at that time has, I think, been vindicated. And I think it is extremely unfortunate that even as an investigation was underway, a Section 10 investigation into the public service card, Minister, that the department consistently went ahead in the active, not only promotion of, but pushing of the public service card as a requirement or as a mandatory or compulsory, whichever the phrase may be, for those who are accessing services. And that indeed, just weeks before the original draft report was produced by the Data Protection Commissioner, that is over a year ago now from where we are now, a new contract was signed. So we had the extraordinary, and when you look to the report that we have, the figures are very striking. The costs of over 60 million, the associated savings estimated at about 2 million, which is very short. But either way, an economic argument of any kind, the economic argument I think is very strong and a real concern, but there is also a huge concern in relation to the state at a time when its own infrastructure, when its own arbiter appointed by the state, the independent body, was investigating one of the largest departments dealing with one of the largest budgets, one that most directly affects the lives of citizens in this state, that the department proceeded as if and did not simply, for example, even if it was to have not signed a new contract, did not pause to consider the thoughts. It's really important, Minister. It's not simply important in relation to your department. It's very important in relation to Ireland and our international reputation. We are one of the key regulators in the world in relation to data protection. We have a huge international reputation to maintain. And I have been deeply, deeply disappointed, Minister, in some of the framing of the response to the Data Protection Commissioner engaging in their role and doing their job. There were many, many opportunities. I do not claim in any way to have been exclusive in having raised concerns back in 2017, but many others did, in civil society in particular. And it's a real learning that we need to listen when alarm bells are raised. Because, yes, there are huge concerns, and I understand you, I'm sure you will tell me that the state intends to challenge these findings and so forth and bring them forth. But, you know, these are legal. We are looking at a legal process here. And aside from the findings and the recommendation and the actions required from the Data Protection Commissioner, there are, of course, many, 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 many individuals who also are entitled to take their cases through. If they are not given satisfaction, if the state does not give them satisfaction in terms of engaging seriously with this. My amendments 22 simply are, if anything, more useful now. It's an opportunity, Minister, for you to ensure that in this interim period, while either there is the enforcement and the delivery of the actions required by the Data Protection Commissioner, or the state is challenging that through legal processes. It should certainly not be the case that an individual who wishes to access services from the Department of Social Protection at this time should be required to sign up to a public service card. You might ask yourself, if somebody has a new child and is looking to get child benefit, and we know that it has been made a requirement in order to receive child benefit, what confidence can an individual have in getting a public service card and adding themselves to a database which is potentially facing deletion, and which serious concerns have been raised in relation to its data protection? So accepting this amendment, Minister, would allow you to accept other forms of identification that would allow you to fulfil the key purpose, which is satisfying yourself as to the identity of persons. And again, Minister, I wish we had stopped and paused in 2017. I wish we had stopped and paused again in 2018 before a new contract was signed. But accepting this amendment at least gives you the provision that you can, for example, when this new contract expires in 2019, in January, that you can maintain and take and accept alternative forms of identification, and that you can use other methods to satisfy yourself as to someone's identity. It allows us, Minister, to stop digging. Thank you.
Senator Ryan.